Yo, what's up, fanbase? It's your boy Blaze Hollow coming at you again with another What If, and this time I'll be bringing you what if Deku had Maharaga's powers. And yes, I do know that this is not supposed to be the series that comes up next. I'm completely taking down that list, maybe coming back to it later. I have some new inspiration to show all of you. I've also gotten some help from Kirisho and Ed. They're helping me get my writing style in order, so I hope you don't mind being a little bit more patient with the other stories. I will be trying to be more frequent, but with the summer still getting at its peak and working outside for 12 hours, it gets hard on my days off to want to do anything, but I go through it for you guys. So sit back, grab a snack, and let's get into it. Roll that intro.
Maybe in a million miles on a highway through the skies. Someday soon we'll be together.
No, I honestly don't think you can become a hero.
Izuku sat up in his medical bed, wondering what this offer could be and what happened to his mother. Why? Why do you want to help me? I don't even know you. All for One chuckled as he held up the bag that Izuku left for him on the roof filled with his hero notebook. We may not know each other, but your research has definitely caught my attention. Plus, your latest stunt/tragedy has touched my soul, so I would really like to help you. Izuku was confused for a second about what kind of stunt when he had a flash go through his mind about him jumping off the roof. And within seconds, he started to feel around his body, wondering how he was okay. How was he breathing? So many things were racking through his head. What happened to me? How am I still alive? Easy, boy, easy. I know it must be a lot to take in, but I had my friend do a check over your medical record showing that you did not know about your quirk, but luckily for you, it must have awakened upon your death. We truly do not know what caused it to start working, but we're hoping to find out so we'll be able to help you with it. He proceeds to pull a chair from the corner of the room and sit down right next to the medical bed. Plus, we might be able to help you get vengeance for what society has done to you and your kind. Izuku still had All Might's words ringing in his head, telling him that he couldn't be a hero. As much as I want to help you, I need to find out what happened to my mother. All for One seemed to be waiting for this as he pulled an envelope out from his coat. Well, it's sad to say that the man that crushed your dreams also destroyed your apartment complex. A couple of powerful individuals thought that it would be their chance to take out the symbol of peace, causing destruction along the entire city block. By the time the fighting was over, the entire apartment complex was coming down. Barely anyone was evacuated. Pretty much anyone that was home that day lost their lives. It was such a tragedy. I just don't understand. Why was All Might the only one fighting? Why weren't the police or firemen trying to evacuate the area? But more importantly, where were the other heroes? All for One put on a sad face, like he was in melancholy about these questions, but on the inside, he was overjoyed, knowing that his words were finally sinking in. It's because they relied too much on the symbol of peace that he could never do wrong and everybody will always be safe. It's caused people to become ignorant and not truly care about heroism. It's more of a popularity contest nowadays, if I might say. I guess that's fair. Nowadays I've seen more heroes as figures or on TV shows or just signing autographs on the street. Why did it take me so long to realize how much things have changed? All for One placed a hand on Izuku's shoulder, trying to comfort him. It's not your fault. Everybody's the same way until they open their eyes. It's just how they're brought up nowadays. It's what we're meant to believe, and those who do not want us to remove our ignorance. So I'm hoping now that you understand, you might be willing to work with me and tear down the society for a better one. I have a few conditions. All for one smile, knowing that he won. Of course, my boy. What do you need? I need somewhere to train and learn about my abilities, along with a chance at taking down the villains that caused the incident that killed my mother. But most of all, I want a shot at taking down All Might myself. All of those things can be arranged and more with time. So why don't you rest? Let the doctor help you. We'll be having you transferred to a more personal vicinity by tomorrow morning. 3 months have passed. As we see inside the Bakugo residence, Minsky was in tears looking over an old photo of her and Inko, along with having a missing poster on the coffee table in front of her. She was just so concerned about Izuku's whereabouts. Where are you? Izuku, you must be so afraid and sad about the whole situation. I just need to find you. Sweetheart, I think it's time we finally got a hold of Asashi. Minsky turned to look at her husband with tears still streaming down her face. Why should we get a hold of him? It's not like he's trying to get a hold of us or even made an attempt to come back after the incident was on the news. I know that it was, but we don't know if the broadcast was worldwide or if it was just here in Japan. You have to remember he's all the way out there in America, and if he's still the same way he was all the way back in high school, he's so focused on his work that he loses track of time. I wouldn't even doubt if he has an assistant to remind him to eat something. I know, I'm sorry. I really don't mean to lash out at you every few minutes when you try to talk to me. Minsky felt her body being wrapped in a hug by her husband, who was trying to calm her down as they were embracing each other. A minute would pass as they would separate from one another, seeing that her husband was holding out her phone. If you believe he's not going to take this seriously, you can hang up and we don't ever have to do this again. But at least we would know we tried, and you know that's what Inko would want us to do. Minsky dried her tears with her wrist. After a couple of seconds of composing herself, she took the phone. Taking a second to go through her contact list, she finally saw the name, and after taking a breath or two, she finally pressed it and listened to it ring. Please pick up. Please, if you're still half the man that we believe you to be back then, please pick up. As we cut over to America, we find a green-haired man working very closely and very heavily focused on the wing of a stealth bomber. As he was connecting 2 wires, that's when his phone would go off, causing the wires to actually shock him, making him fall off the ladder that he was standing on, and hitting his ass on the ground. As if fate was also testing him, his phone fell off the ladder, hitting him on the head and making it bounce right onto his lap right in front of him. Oh God, I keep on telling people not to message me during work hours. I swear, if they're asking if this bomber's ready for the next battle, I'm going to give them an earful. Once he finally looked down at his phone and sees that the contact name is Minsky, his attitude automatically changed as he started to stumble with his phone, almost like the thing was covered in grease, making it slippery. But once he was finally able to get a hold of it, he picked up the phone. Hello, is everything okay? I haven't heard from you in a while. Minsky dropped to her knees in gratefulness as she was keeping a tight grip on her phone. No, Hisashi, have you seen the news lately? Hisashi was confused by the question. That depends. Do you mean American news or Japanese news? There is a difference. Minsky realized that he didn't know, and her husband was right, meaning that she was going to be the one to give him the bad news. Japanese news. Would you have happened to seen it? Can't say that I have. I've been very busy lately. I basically have been working 24/7, and now that I think about it, have I eaten anything today? But that's just not important right now. I'm sure that this call is your yearly lecture about me not being there, isn't it? Trust me when I tell you, I wish that this was that type of phone call, but it's not. She gripped the phone a little bit tighter as the words were stuck stuck in her throat. Inko was killed in a villain attack that destroyed your entire house, and Izuku is missing. They haven't found his body or his whereabouts. We've been trying to figure out what to do for months, but we just haven't come up with anything. We have no leads. I just don't know where else to turn, so I'm hoping that you'll come home and help us find your son. Hisashi stayed quiet for a minute, letting that all go through his head, processing, regretting hearing it, and taking a few deep breaths. And how many months ago was this? Inski could hear the irritation on the other end, knowing that she was in the wrong for keeping this from him for so long. 3 months, and the police are thinking about closing the case on Izuku, saying that they're reaching the limits of a missing persons case. It will be up to the family members or volunteer policemen or even heroes to keep an eye out for Izuku if they find him. Other than that, he'll just become another cold case. I'll be coming home, and I don't know how long it's going to take me, but I'll be there within a few months. I'm going to get a hold of some friends and call in some favors. We're going to find my son, dead or alive. That way Inko's soul can rest in peace and I can get closure. So keep up the search, and if you get any leads, let me know. I'll be there as soon as possible. What kind of friends can help you out with this situation? The best kind. Trust me when I tell you, we get down there, it won't take us long to find my son. I just need you to trust me. I'm going to try, even though you haven't given me reasons to trust you over all these years. In this situation, I'm going to trust you. Please don't break it. I won't. The sounds of the hangar door could be heard opening. Hisashi, who are you on the phone with? We cut away to an old park where we find Bakugo sitting on a park bench staring at a seesaw, lost in his own thoughts as he looks at his hands that were shaking. Damn it, stop shaking. This isn't my fault. It just isn't. Don't worry, Kachan. You'll always figure things out. Bakugo snapped his head upwards only to see nothing. He looked back and forth and even behind him, but he couldn't see anyone. Damn it, nerd. Why am I hearing your voice right now? You need to stop, Kachan. Bakugo looked over at the seesaw, and like he was living a fever dream, he could see his younger self along with his goons picking on Izuku. I don't want to see this right now. Kachan, you're hurting him. This is not what heroes do. Shut up, Deku. You're a quirkless nobody. Bakugo was flinching, remembering what he did next as he got up from the park bench and started to run while covering his ears. Not wanting to remember, he didn't even realize how long he was running until he was in front of his old middle school that was closed for the summer. Of all the places that I had to stop, why was it here? As he stood there at the front gate, looking at the school that he used to rule, he noticed something at the stairwell heading inwards. He didn't know what it was, if it was real or not, but it looked like Izuku, so he quickly tried to get inside. Realizing that the gate was locked, he used his explosions to catapult him over so he could start running towards the building. As he tried to catch up with the figure, he started to hear every interaction that he had with Izuku, only for him to stop right in front of his old classroom, with the door wide open as he could see a spiritual version of Izuku looking out the window. You're not real. You're just a part of my imagination. No, I'm a part of your guilt, but don't worry, you don't really have to see me anymore. I think in my own way I took your advice, so the only version of me that's still left is the one in your head. Bakugo saw this Izuku falling backwards out the window as he quickly ran trying to grab him, but once he did, he slipped right through, causing him to go out the window and have himself plummeting towards the ground. He quickly activated his explosion, giving him a rough landing as he was just on the ground hyperventilating and punching the ground in anger. Please, Izuku, Just come home. We jump ahead another 6 months at an underground factory where two hulkish creatures seem to be circling around Izuku like they were waiting for their orders as the intercom went off. So, are you ready for today's test run, Izuku? Izuku was stretching his arms as he cracked his neck. His body started to get a little bit bigger and more pale. Let's do this, Doc. I want to get this over with as quickly as possible. I want to have that revenge match against Shigaraki in Smash Bros. The doctor had a cocky smile on his face. Well, let's see if you keep that attitude. These were special Nomu that I created just for you. A buzzing noise goes ringing through the room, causing both Nomu to charge, coming in from the front and the back. Both of the Nomu started to throw punches, but for some insane agility and movement, Izuku was able to weave right through the both of them. Izuku decided to punch the one right behind him square in the jaw, sending it scooting back 4 feet. Definitely sturdy. The last one I did that to had its head come right off. While he was admiring the durability of the creature in front of him, the one that was now behind him grabbed Izuku and suplexed him right into the ground, causing him to bounce off of his head. Izuku's head was in pain as his eyes were starting to spin, noticing his opponent right in front of him. So Izuku decided to slam his fingers right through the chest cavity of the Nomu, putting a smirk on his face, thinking that he killed this one. But when he tried to pull his hand back, it was stuck within the tight muscle as the doctor was getting on the intercom. I'd be careful with that one. It has muscle density, which allows itself to be more durable, or allow itself to take hits and contain those that are trapped within its body. But it also does have one more special effect. The Nomu roared out as its entire body started to be covered in electricity like it was a human bug zapper, causing Izuku to scream out in pain. But his eyes started to spin. Once, still feeling it through his body, he forced himself up and punched at the Nomu's face multiple times. It would make the creature stumble backwards, but since his hand was stuck within it, he was forced forward as well. But that's when his eyes started to spin for the second time. As he was punching, he started to remember something. Wait, what happened to the other Nomu? That's when the other Nomu stabbed knives into Izuku's arm, which made the electricity that was shocking Izuku even worse. But that's when the third spin finally happened. He could no longer feel the electricity hurting him, causing him to smirk. He used his free arm to pull out one of the knives that was stabbed into his trapped arm and stab it directly into the bug zapper Nomu's brain, killing it on the spot. Once he felt the body go limp, he dug his hand deeper into the Nomu until he had a good grip on his spinal cord. He took the whole body and swung it at the one that stabbed him with the knives as both bodies go flying across the room with Izuku free. Thanks for the new adaptations. Now I truly believe that I'm immune to electricity, but I do not appreciate being stabbed. The doctor stumbled back in his chair in annoyance as he just got on the intercom. You were supposed to snap the neck, remember? At least then it can regenerate, but puncturing it in the brain is completely killing it. Now that's 4 months of work down the drain. You should be thanking me, Doc. If they lose so quickly to me, they're not worth using. The doctor noticed from his viewpoint, but one of his Nomus was still alive, using his camouflage ability and sneaking up right behind Izuku, making him grin, knowing that one of his creatures was going to be a lot more difficult for the adapting monster. I wouldn't count your chickens until they hatch if I were you. Izuku was confused. What are you talking about? They're both... Before he could finish that statement, Izuku felt the blade stabbing through his chest cavity, causing him to spit out blood as his eyes were glowing bright only for them to go dim. As the Nomu flicked his body off of the blade, roaring out in victory, the doctor actually leaped out of his chair, putting his face up against the glass, worried that he might have just killed one of their greatest upcoming soldiers and that his master is going to be greatly disappointed. Oh no. Oh no, what have I done? I need to hurry up and get down there with the medical supplies, along with stopping that Nomu. Before he could even press a button, a golden chakra wheel appeared behind Izuku as he continued to grow in size, making the Nomu look kinda small as he was getting onto his feet quickly as he grabbed the bladed Nomu and crushed it between his fingers like a juice pouch, spraying the entire room with blood. The doctor looked at it in fright, wondering if he unleashed a new monster that he didn't know how to control. Izuku, is that you? Are you even conscious, or have you become something new? Izuku looked up at the doctor and gave him a thumbs up with his other hand, finally dropping the bladed Nomu. It looks like I've found a new stage of my transformation. Good. I'm glad that I'm still learning things about myself. I just keep on getting stronger. The doctor came down to the arena and realized that he was barely up to Izuku's knee joint in this form. I must say it is definitely impressive. Not only do you get a height boost, but it seems to also increase your strength. But what makes me the most curious is that Derma chakra wheel that has a physical form behind you, because I thought it was only something that would show up in your eyes. Izuku looked over his shoulder. That does have me curious as well. Maybe it's a form of manifestation for my adaptation ability. I don't know, but I do think that's enough testing and prodding into your genetics and strength for one day. Can you change back, or are you possibly stuck like this now? Izuku tried to change back to his normal self. It took him a few minutes, but he was finally able to go back to his base form, but he realized that the wheel that was behind him disappeared. Okay then, the wheel is definitely a part of the transformation, but what is its purpose? Don't even think about it. The last time you decided to do an all-nighter on researching your abilities, I got a lecture from the master about you overworking. So I want you to get cleaned up, take some time upstairs with the others to relax. I'm gonna go over the data the cameras were able to pick up on your match that went way too quickly for my liking. Fine, I'll take a break, but when are you going to let me fight against one of your high-end Nomu? They have to put up a better challenge than these second generations. I know that they're very powerful, but they get predictable since they can't fully think for themselves. The doctor felt chills throughout his body, along with sorrow, if one of his greatest creations would be destroyed so quickly before it could truly show off its skills. Absolutely not, unless the master himself would approve of such a thing, and even then, I would argue with him for a few hours about it before I would even let you go anywhere near one of my high-end Nomu. Do you understand me? You've gone through so many of my precious creations in 9 months for you to finally get to the stage that you're at. Do you not know how much money, time, and research it takes for me to just make one of those things only for you to break them within 10 minutes or less? It's frustrating. I hope you will understand. Izuku did feel a little bit bad. He knew that if he was the creator of those things, he would be pissed off pretty well to have them destroyed so quickly. Okay, Doc, I get it. I won't go near them. I'm gonna go get a shower and head upstairs with everybody else. Very good. I'll let you know when I need your assistance again. After stopping at his room to take a quick shower and wash off the blood and sweat, he puts on a comfortable pair of sweatpants and a loose-fitting black t-shirt, proceeding to the bar where he could find Shigaraki playing Smash Bros in the left corner of the bar while Kodagiri was cleaning off the glasses with a white rag. Today's training is done already, or did you get kicked out of the lab again, Izuku? A little bit of both. Mind mixing me up some OJ with some cherry syrup? Kodagiri thought about it for a second and realized that it was a hot day. Why not instead I make an orange strawberry smoothie for you and the young master since it's such a hot day, and I'll see if we have any of those special pretzels in the back for the both of you. Sounds Sounds good to me. Shigaraki shouted from the other side of the room. That does sound good. Mind putting mine in a big glass? I'm really thirsty. Izuku walked over to Shigaraki. Why is that? It's not like you're really doing much besides probably getting beaten by kids younger than you online. This is coming from the guy that lost 10 matches to me in a row yesterday. Are you really in any position to be talking shit? You got lucky, chapped lips. I'll beat you this time, and when I win all the matches, you better not come crying to me. Are you going to talk, or are you going to grab a controller? Let's do this. But that's where I'm gonna leave it off this time, guys. Make sure to leave a like and comment down below. I'll make sure the next video gets out sooner. So with all that said, I'm out. Peace.